Will Malik WIllis create a spark in 2022 if the Steelers pick him at 20? Steeler Nation, welcome back to another Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate video. I'm your host, Mark, and thank you for joining me once again. This channel has now grown over 40 subscribers, and I can't thank you guys enough for checking it out. But without further ado, let's crack into the show. We need to find out in this episode, if the Pittsburgh Steelers draft Malik WIllis, will he create that spark for the offense? Now, as I've done a little bit of research over the last few days and a lot of draftee guys out there, Steelers fans out there, if Malik WIllis were to fall at 20, or maybe there could be a chance, if we use some draft capital, the Pittsburgh Steelers might trade up. However, that is a risky biscuit kind of move to move up, because then you have to use other picks. And then in previous years, we've done that for Devin Bush, but it can be risky. However, in this scenario, if Malik WIllis were to fall at 20, do we go and take him? Do the Pittsburgh Steelers pick up another quarterback? And will he be a quarterback for maybe the future or 2022? Or at least to help compete against Haskins and Rudolph, if Haskins is also signed. Now, the reason why I say this, and it is fun, it is a little bit fun to bring up. It's a little bit fun to bring up, right? As I was going into this subject, I started looking at highlights of Malik WIllis, and I straight away just thought, far out. He acts and moves like Michael Vick or Action Jackson from our rivals, the Baltimore Ravens. He looks very similar like that. Has a big arm, steady poise in the pocket. He can move around the pocket. And one of the biggest things so far, and I have fell victim into this. I must admit, I put my hand up. What I've done over the last few years is Big Ben has been my guy. Big Ben has been my guy so much that from 2004 to his retirement this year or last year in 2021, I never really thought about anybody else. I thought Big Ben was going to play forever. I thought that Big Ben was going to go win us another Super Bowl, and he was going to ride off into the sunset. Now, that didn't work out. That did not work out at all. His retirement party was in Kansas City. They took care of business, and we couldn't really do anything. Now, Big Ben's arm was still there, I would say. Big Ben's football IQ was still there. The one big piece, though, that was missing, I think, was his mobility. And even to the thought, if we could draft a guy like Malik WIllis, a young guy from college, mobile quarterback, and even to the point, like just being a little bit mobile. Like think about the last year or 2 years with Ben. We ran RPOs, but he never ran the football. We ran option play passes or like play action passes or flea flickers. We tried those things, but did any defense really respect Big Ben to run? So there was also a quote from one of our mates, Ike Taylor, in one of his shows, in one of his podcasts a few weeks ago. He brought up the notion that Ike Taylor said, while Big Ben was playing, it was always 11 versus 10 because Big Ben was there, and yes, he had the capability to throw the football, but he could never run. So you had 11 players versus 10, right? If we were to be lucky enough, and I'm telling you right now, if we did go and sign Malik WIllis at number 20, he fell that way. That's how the cards were dealt. You know, we're so young. We're so young into this process right now. Being in February, still lots of speculation to be had, and it's going to fire up in the next few weeks to a month. But if he were to fall there in that spot, I think Steeler Nation would go crazy. I think we will go absolutely crazy. Now, the fun thing I find about some of the highlights I've seen from Malik WIllis is just his ability to escape the pocket excites me. Now that's kind of funny because a lot of other teams, like the Bills have Josh Allen, Casey has Patrick Mahomes. Our rivals, the Ravens, have Jackson. So they're kind of used to that, right? They are kind of used to that. Where for the Steelers over the last, I guess, in Big Ben's later career, he has slowed down and just didn't really move his feet as much as he could. He started to throw the ball quicker because he didn't want to get sacked. So what an interesting dynamic would be to bring in a mobile quarterback who can move around the pocket, who can actually do play action passes, and start to work with Najee Harris. This would kind of excite me, so I wouldn't be against it. Like last year, bringing in Najee Harris too. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, we need to booster up the O line." They could have been right. We end up picking Najee Harris, and that did work out for us. So maybe it might be time now to booster up the O line for Najee. However, if you do have a mobile quarterback like Malik Willis, you can get away with a few things. When the play starts to break down, if they rush 4 or 5 or how many people they want to rush, it doesn't matter. Once the play starts to break down, Claypool, Juju, if he still sticks around, and Muth, they're going to start to find ways to get open. And you better believe, too, Deontay will find ways to get open also. If we don't end up trading or, if Juju doesn't end up going to another team, right? These players and even Najee, it's going to create a whole new dynamic with this offense. And also with the motions, too, with Matt Canada. So a lot of flack was being put on Matt Canada in 2021 that he's an awful OC. He can't do anything. But maybe he didn't have the right players at the time as he did have with Big Ben. Big Ben was pretty much in 2020 and 2021, he said, I'm going to draw my own plays and I'm going to go 5 wide and I'm going to choose the best route possible I can see in a heartbeat and zing it to him. Now, if they bring in a rookie like Malik Willis and he wins the job and he beats out starting QB Mason Rudolph, big things can happen. Big things can happen. I would be even so excited to see if the Steelers didn't have a winning season in 2022. It still would be pretty exciting to see, right? Bring in a guy like Malik Willis, have the option to do some of these passes, have the option to move somebody in motion, just not for the sake of moving someone in motion. They're moving for a reason. Move Claypool on the edge, come back around, fake the Claypool. Next minute, you're faking the handoff to Najee. Wait a minute. Malik holds the football. We still have an option to pass to Juju or to Deontay, or we can run the rock too. What do you guys think? Am I far off? Or would you be excited for Malik Willis to come in and take charge of the offense? I would be. If a young QB came in, now what I know about the NFL and my support for the team, if a young QB came in, I might even, I don't know. I've never done this before. I might even buy his jersey straight up. Buy the jersey straight up and cheer him on. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think, as you leave in the comments below, do you guys think that bringing in Malik Willis would spark the offense? This year in 2021, I keep saying this year because the season hasn't started yet. In 2021, the Pittsburgh Steelers only averaged 20 points a game. That needs to go up. We need to average around 30 points a game for any chance to win. But bringing in a new guy, like if you draft in, Willis at 20, if we're lucky enough, if he's to fall there, I think no doubt he would spark the offense and he would work well with our receivers and he would start to work well with our offensive coordinator. And we get that bit of, extra passion back in our Steelers again. Like some people always say, we wasted the good years with, AB, Martavis, Bryant, and guys like that on our receiving core. However, we also have a similar problem now too, where we have a young tight end in Muth. We have a young running back in Najee Harris. And we have the opportunity to maybe keep Juju and also fix Deontay's catching problems. And hopefully Chase Claypool can work out in year 3 and be one of the best receivers in the game. He's got the height, but he can't stay on his feet. So if all these things came together with a young mindseted player with Malik Willis, I believe that team would build more cohesion than it has in 10 years. Because Big Ben was older. Big Ben was much older than Juju, Claypool, and they maybe couldn't build that connection. Bring in a young guy who's fired up and ready to go to learn the Steelers way and the Steelers system. Help out Najee so he's not running into, a brick wall every single time. And maybe we can start to create things and make big plays and start to get first downs and keep our defense off the field. And if we can do that, keep the ball in our possession, you know what happens next. TJ Watt will come off the bench firing, ready to go off and create turnovers. So what do you guys think? Will the Pittsburgh Steelers draft Malik Willis at number 20? And if they do, will he provide that spark and change that the Steelers need this year?